We all know horror sucks ass today, but of course there were two horror films I wanted to see this year, and one I'm really excited for, Crimson Peak, directed by Guillermo del Toro, written by him, Matthew Robbins. Had a good first trailer, haven't seen the new one yet. Kind of surprising, I have all the time in the world, yet I don't even try to watch it. Maybe I should after watching this, after recording or just posting this video. And also this one. This was an independent film. Chris Stuckman gave it a good review. It had mass acclaim from critics, and I was excited because I'm not a huge horror fan. I do want to see a good movie, and I saw my mom because she's a horror fan. Yay! She wanted to see Poltergeist. I didn't want to see that shit because I like the original. I really like the original. But anyways, this is gonna be one that may divide some people. But overall, this is kind of like almost like some sort of homage to the older horror films from the 70s and the 80s. It Follows. It Follows is written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, stars Micah Monroe. I don't know any of the other cast members. And of course, you may have heard about this. It's about a girl who's dating this guy, and one day she has sex with him, and it turns out during sex, he has this curse that was transferred to her, of course, through sex. STD. Sexually transmitted demon. I know. Comment below if you knew the guy who. Comment below if you know where that phrase first came from, because I know I didn't make it up myself. I just know that. But anyways, it's transferred to her, and she is being, and of course this entity is following her. See, when he had it, they were always following him. But since of course he passed it to her, he still has that same curse, but the entity is not following him, it's following her. So the result, she's trying to keep herself safe while also trying to find some way to get rid of it. This movie was actually pretty interesting. I actually meant it's one of the best, probably so far the best horror film of this year, although the best, I seriously mean this will be the best. Crimson Peak, I mean, come on, Guillermo del Toro. Pan's Labyrinth, I mean, come on, I love that movie. Unfortunately, I've not seen the Hellboy movies or Pacific Rim, but I love Pan's Labyrinth. It's so imaginative, kind of creepy, atmospheric, but perfect. Thanks to great animatronics, CGI, great cinematography, beautiful lighting. Just overall, it's a great film. I own it, for God's sake. That's how great it is. Anyways, back to It Follows. It Follows is an independent film, and it's also, so yeah, you can expect something like this. Like, you can expect what I really like about this movie is how it feels more like a homage to old 70s movies. One of my favorite things about this movie is the score. The score is actually pretty cool. In some of the tracks that are playing, the tunes, they were so similar to John Carpenter's score for Halloween, which was co-written and directed by him. I really like that movie. I think it's a really good slasher film, one of my favorite horror films of all time. Very suspenseful, great villain in Michael Myers, and it was such an influence. I mean, come on! Now, It Follows also has a lot of the things that take place from Halloween and from some of these other older horror films. Now, I've never seen a lot of them, but these ones do a lot of things right. Building tension. This movie does a great job of building tension. I remember watching this movie, I was always afraid that something would happen. There were times, even though I heard there was no real jump scares, there was one that was kind of false, but luckily it didn't use that traditional traditional style of putting in a loud noise. Putting in a loud noise of background music that just forces you out of your seat. Now that did make me jump, but it was also, because although it is a false scare, they didn't force it at you. They didn't try so hard to make it scary. See, here's what the false scare is. I know I'm spoiling it, but I'm just telling you. A ball hitting a window. A big basketball, I believe, hitting a window. It was the only sound you heard. You didn't hear that big boom noise, all these loud noises, that's a background noise, from the score or whatever, the soundtrack. Here, it's just from the ball hitting the window. That's it. That's how you do a good jump scare. Now, I have seen the original Halloween. There was another false scare when Dr. Loomis, the sheriff touched the cop. I think it was the sheriff, that touched him, and he turned around and he was scared. But there was no background noise. There was no music they used, like all of those loud music that they used to force you to jump out of your seat. This was natural, but also I thought that I was always on the edge of my seat because I was afraid something would happen, and that's how good it was. See, they kept the tension building, and the payoff was always satisfying. Is this movie very scary? It was very suspenseful, and I do admit there were a couple things that creeped me out. It was very atmospheric, and overall, it left me very on edge, and it kind of scared. I was scared a couple times. That's how good it is, because this character, she's not safe. I mean, even if she really tried to keep herself safe, this entity could find some way to pursue her. Like, no matter where she is, even if she was confined, it could find some way to get her. It's very suspense. It works perfectly. It's creative. It has a lot of creative scares. It's also pretty original, because, I mean, a sexually transmitted demon. Who hasn't thought of that? Not that I know of. Terrifying, like some critics are saying? Not really. But I do admit, there were some scares. There was a lot of great atmosphere, good lighting. I especially love the cinematography. There's a lot of good wide takes, and the way they frame it, it just reminds me a lot of Halloween. Not only just the score, but also some of the cinematography. I mean, it's pretty artistic. I mean, it is an independent film. So was Halloween. I mean, it was a low-budget film. It was very successful. This one, somewhat successful, but not to the same degree. Stupid folks. I need a new camera. I really do. I know I say that a lot, but I'm just saying it. Also, this is a horror film that doesn't rely on stereotypical characters, terrible acting, terrible direction, or writing. This one actually has good acting. Not only from Monroe being a vulnerable character, I really felt for her because she's a character who is just afraid. She's just unaware of the stuff happening to her, and she has to deal with it. And she's just under danger. She's in danger. She's in distress. Did I say 2014? 2015. Best horror film of 2015. That's what I meant. And one of the best of 2010 so far. For what I have seen. Because I haven't seen a lot. I haven't seen Sinister or Insidious. I have seen The Conjuring. I have not seen The Babadook. It's on Netflix right now. I'll watch it one day. I have all the time in the world. Anyways, I can't believe I just thought that in the middle of this video. But Monroe, she's good in this movie. She's vulnerable. I mean, she's not superpowered. I mean, she has to be constantly aware of situations because she could get attacked by this thing and be killed. Actually, the opening scene is pretty good. I think it's actually this one continuous take of a camera revolving around this one secluded area, around this one area in a neighborhood. It was actually pretty cool. And also the beginning, it just set you up. It was pretty shocking, but also a pretty good setup for what was to come. There's also this one scene involving a swimming pool and the entity that actually kept. I'm not going to spoil everything. That's just what I'm going to leave it at. It left me on the edge of my seat. I was actually very tense. That's actually pretty damn good. I mean, you're getting a lot of suspense. You're building the suspense, and you're never letting up. You're constantly leaving me on the edge of my seat. You're leaving me worried. It worked perfectly. Also, there's supporting characters that are well fleshed out. They're not stereotypes. Also, those actors are also pretty good at it. And I thought, yeah, they're good. The situations behind are really insane. It's bizarre. I mean, the horror film is. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, it's also believable because the actors are committed to the material, and the director understands it. He understands the material, and he knows how to get horror, how to create any sort of horror out of it. Do I have any problems with this movie? It's not terrifying. That's really just it. I think that's really it. It's very slow, so you have to really be patient. But then, of course, I'm not sure there's any horror films I've seen that are really fast-paced. I mean, films like Poltergeist, Halloween, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was just kind of slow building. But I mean, it was like 45 minutes until you saw Leatherface. And the result, a classic. The Conjuring. I mean, The Conjuring, those films don't move at a slow pace. But if you're not into slow-paced movies, then you're not really going to enjoy this. I just know that. I do recommend you see it, though, if you are a horror fan. I mean, it's about to come out on DVD soon, so you'll be lucky. And if you've already seen it, because the movie was actually had stronger success than the studio thought it would, that's kind of good. Also, from what I heard, they're kind of starting to they're thinking about a sequel involving like the origin of the entity, and I think that could be interesting if David Robert Mitchell understand how to do it right. I mean, if you have him, is possibility of success. I think I might give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. There's in some way kind of deserves that, but to be honest, I didn't think it was fantastic, but it is a pretty good horror film. It's refreshing to see, and overall it's a pretty good film. I also want to add some more comments. I did like, I mean, the visual style was good. There was some shocking imagery, and I think the movie may scare you if your horror is not really your thing, and if you want to start getting into it, or if you're just easily scared. Yeah, this is not exact. I mean, it's rated R for a reason. Anyways, guys, that's my review for It Follows. Comment below. What did you think about it? And are you excited for Crimson Peak? Comment below and subscribe to my channel for more videos.